Happy Saturday, guys. Today's home workout is a 10-round workout, 4 time of 3 unbroken deadlifts, 9 toes to bar, 27 double unders. So the intention of this workout is around the deadlift. So we want to try to go heavy for that. I know, again, we're at home, we might not have the equipment. Maybe try to find an odd object to do deadlifts with where you can use them safely. That would challenge you a little bit on the strength end. So if you have, like, say, a soil bag, then maybe you can use that, or like a big, like a bucket. You guys can try using that as a prop for your deadlift today. If you don't have dumbbells, kettlebells, or any barbells at home. 9 toes to bar, 27 double unders, toes to bar. We can use a V-sit variation here if we don't have a pull-up rig to use that from. And then double unders. If you don't have a rope, we can go jumping jacks or even go double tap hops at the top of every jump. And you'll see that in the standard videos later. So overall, guys, with this workout, I would say try to stick to a 2-minute pace, no longer than that. 2 minutes should be plenty to finish a round each time. So you should try to be finishing sub 20 minutes here. Again, it will depend based on what kind of progressions you use for this workout, but have an idea of finishing a minimum or no more than 2 minutes per round here and there. This is a great workout, guys, to work on the strength there. The other 2 movements are just mainly just to add a little bit more implements, more gymnastics, and a little bit of a cardio implement in there to challenge your deadlifts for today. After the workout, we're gonna do some stretches. So we're gonna do a 60-second pigeon stretch per side. Then we're gonna finish off with a 60-second glute and hamstring strengthening. So we just stretch those glutes out, that hip capsule out there, guys. We're gonna try to strengthen those end ranges of motion at the end of the pigeon stretch there. Hope you guys enjoyed today's WOD and afterburner. We'll see you guys next for the warm-up video.
Okay, for the warm-up, we're gonna start off with such a great drill here. In your hollow position, doing 5 hip circles. Now, to get into your hollow position, you can start by lowering 1 vertebrae down on the ground at a time, starting with your lumbar, so your low back. So push your belly button to the floor, then laying down slowly and controlled until you get to mid-back or your shoulder blade area. From there, you can raise your heels. If that's too tough to get into it, another way to get into it is keep your heels up, tuck your chin, roll your chest towards your thighs to round your upper back. If that's hard, you can support yourself with your hand by grabbing your calves behind your knees or your thighs. When you find where your hands you want to keep them, from there you can challenge yourself a little bit further by lowering your heels. Okay? When you find that position that is contracting your core muscles and is challenging you, stay there. From there, you're gonna add a hip circle. So you're gonna go hip circle for 5, looking at how smooth and controlled that circle is. Okay, then you're gonna switch sides. Maybe you wanna challenge yourself a little more. You're gonna do a nice small circle on both sides. Again, going for 5 on both sides. That's such a great movement because yes, you're activating your core, you gotta stay in control of it, you gotta breathe, but that hip circle starts helping you activate the front side as well, so your hip flexors, your psoas, which is it's a muscle that is underdeveloped or we're not aware of how to activate it. That's a great way. That muscle will help you lift up your thighs, avoid clean up your mechanics, whether you're running, guys, or avoid dropping your chest too much in the squat, or when you're jumping, let's say, onto a box, avoid landing with your chest forward too much, which will keep your stance and your stride or your landing positions a lot lighter on your feet. Okay, so such a great warm-up drill, guys, to do. You're doing, again, 5 on both sides. When you're done that, then single-legged, heels off the ground, single-legged glute bridges. So hip up, back down, hip up, back down. Try not to swing the leg up, just raise your hips, squeeze your bum, back down. Again, going for 15 on both sides. We're doing all that just once. Once you are done that, whether it be dumbbells, kettlebells, a barbell, PVC pipe, even bands, we're gonna go into the next part of your warm-up, which is 2 rounds. You're gonna go into your Pendlay Row. So I'm gonna use dumbbells here. Pendlay Row, you're hinging at the hips, so stick your bum back, soften the knees, try to keep your shins vertical, perpendicular to the floor. Drop your chest if you can, without rounding your back, and as low as you can. From there, you're gonna retract your shoulder blades, roll it up. If you're using a barbell, try to touch the plates. If you have bigger plates, to the floor. If you're using dumbbells, depending on the size of the dumbbell, you might touch the ground. Mine a little bit small, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna row, then I'm gonna extend my arms. I'm gonna row, extend my arms. As I'm doing that, I'm activating my hamstrings, I'm keeping my core tight. I'm focused on that shoulder blade movement, but my entire body has to stay under tension to keep my back flat. You're going for 15 of those. Once you're done the 15, then you're going into a sumo stance. Sumo stance, Romanian deadlift. So, wide your stance, hinge at your hips, soft knees, touch that object. Maybe it's the plate, maybe it's a dumbbell, to the floor, maybe it's a kettlebell, okay? If you're rowing it, or with band, sorry, if you're doing it with the band, you would have the band, same thing, don't touch the floor with your arms, okay? From the side, and wide stance, hinge at the hips, touch your object to the floor. As you come up, try to push the floor away to help you activate your rowing. You're doing that 10 for 10 repetitions, then you're repeating the rows one more time for 15, finishing off with the 10 deadlifts in that sumo stance again, guys. Have a great warm-up and enjoy your workout.
A single arm deadlift, we like to place that item in between the feet. So your deadlift width is going to be about where you squat. You can go a little bit wider if you want to get into that sumo stance. That's totally fine as well. And what I want you guys to think about here is we're going to think about that hip hinge. So I'm going to think about pushing that hip back and then drawing my hips down after that. You can see my shin is still perpendicular to the ground. So the difference if I was squatting is my shin would be going a little bit forward. I actually want to push that hip back a little bit, get my hip up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to hold on to my object. Pushing with the legs, opening with that hip, we're going to push that hip back, and then lower the object again with those legs. I want you guys to squeeze your butt at the top, make sure the abs are tight. Sometimes when we squeeze our butt, we tend to overarch. Let's make sure we don't do that. Also notice how my head and neck stay nice and neutral. So when I'm at the bottom of that deadlift, I'm not looking straight, I'm not looking down, but I'm kind of looking just maybe a couple feet out in front of me. I want the top of my head to my tailbone to stay in a nice and straight line. If you guys have the mobility and you find it easier or a different type of challenge perhaps to stick to your normal deadlift position, so feet under that hip, and we're just going to keep that dumbbell or kettlebell outside the stance, it makes it a little bit trickier, but it might be a good challenge for you today to do that as long as you keep that back nice and flat. That's the most important part. The final move is the V-sit. Remember guys, you can challenge yourselves with a weight between the heel, or you can do a toe to bar if you have a pull-up bar at home. So for the V-sit, first progression, you can just do a sit-up. So you can get an ab mat under your back or a towel, roll up a shirt, whatever. We're just gonna come all the way up, touch the shoes, come back down. You can use your arms. Those are a bit too easy for you. For 3, it's probably gonna be a bit too easy. You can switch to a jackknife. So in a jackknife, we start off in that hollow body position. The knees come in towards the chest. The V-sit is very similar, except now we're keeping our legs locked out, and we're trying to bring our arms overhead and then bring the hands in towards the toes. If you don't touch the toes, that's okay. You're just gonna try to get as close as you can, and you're gonna try to keep everything nice and straight.
For those double unders, if you have them, Let's work on those double unders today. If you're at that 30 range, for example, see if you can break them up into sets of 20. Or if you want to try it, seeing if you can do bigger sets today, this is the great day to try and start, or a great workout to start doing that. If you don't have double unders, let's go single skips, or we can go for some running skips here, guys. Also, you can use that previous option from before, which is the double tap hop. So you're gonna keep the feet together, you're gonna jump up, double tap your sides for 60 reps total.
Okay, hopefully you had a good workout, got that done under 15 minutes. Now it's time to cool off and get some glute stretching and activation. So starting off with the pigeon pose here, guys, we're gonna go for 60 seconds aside. You're actually gonna start in that high plank, so that push position. He's gonna drive his knee up towards his wrist. His heel is in line, in his case, in line with his knee. Now, if you don't have that flexibility, that's fine. You can lower that heel down a bit. I know sometimes myself, if I have my heel a little higher, I create a little bit of impingement in my hip, so I gotta find that right position to not feel that impingement. So play around with it based on your flexibility. You're trying to stretch out the glute on that side. Two, you're also trying to stretch out your hip flexor by bringing your hip towards the floor or towards your heel. By doing that, you're stretching the hip flexor. You can get a little bit deeper in your stretch by dropping down towards your elbows or the floor, which again, it will intensify your stretch a little bit more. And if that's available to you, go right ahead. You're hanging out there for a minute total, so maybe you don't start there, you work up to that, okay? After you've done that for 1 minute, you're gonna do the other side for 1 minute, okay? Once you've completed both sides, then you're gonna go into your glute, hip stretch, and activation. So find yourself a spot on the wall. You're gonna cross over. So one heel's on the wall. You're gonna cross over. Then you're gonna lower your hips down towards the floor. As you lower your hips down to the floor, you're stretching the glute there. So while you're stretching the glute, you're gonna create some activation. So what we wanna see today is you're gonna push your knee down towards the wall, okay, which gets a little bit deeper stretch in your glute. Do that for about 10 seconds. Then you're gonna bring your knee in, where you gotta use your adductor to bring it up and in to activate that muscle. Hold that for about 10 seconds. You're gonna repeat that back and forth, about 10 seconds each position for a total of 1 minute before you switch sides. So again, this is not just a stretch. You are stretching your glute, but you're also activating your adductor, which is gonna help those hips feel a lot better. Start off the week and from that workout, okay? Have fun with this, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.